Thank you, Chairman King, members. Brent Bennett with the Texas Public Policy Foundation testifying in support of House Bill 3278. We fully support the intent of this bill to cast more light on the economic incentives being provided to wind or solar facilities and also the environmental impacts of the massive development that is occurring across rural Texas. Scarcely a month goes by when I don't get a call from someone or a note from someone whose land, water, and property have been degraded by wind and solar development. So it's necessary that we continue to push on this issue and take more actions on these problems, as the legislature is doing a lot of this session. It's true that some of the study provisions in this bill have been accomplished in part by work the TCEQ did in response to Senate Bill 1290 last session. However, that dealt with in part the kind of life cycle and disposal issues, but not so much with the land use impacts and also the environmental impacts. The impacts of wind and solar generation on wildlife in particular need closer scrutiny. A recent study by the Peregrine Fund, an organization dedicated to preserving raptors and other birds of prey, found that rigorous data collection on wind energy impacts to birds is rare, and that mitigation of detrimental effects is seldom reported. Only 23% of wind facilities covered in the study reported using any mitigation practices to reduce bird mortality. Finally, we recommend that the language be clarified that the moratorium on new economic incentives extends to local incentives to make sure that chapters 312, 380, and 381 are covered because those might not be considered state incentives. The state incentive, the direct state incentives such as former chapter 313 and then also the renewable portfolio standard have now been eliminated for wind and solar. So we think that's an important clarifying point. We also recommend that the study provisions in the bill include a complete accounting of the federal tax incentives received by wind and solar facilities, as well as projections in the future incentives, because that's something important for us to get our heads around when we talk about
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you.
Remember, there are questions from Mr. Bennett. Mr. Turner has one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would you support changing the bill to also include a provision for this report to explain and list out the benefits of this type of energy production, in addition to the detriments that you described?
Yes, we would support that, and I believe if I remember correctly, I believe in the bill there is a discussion of the economic benefits to communities. That's part of the study provisions that are in there already.
But what about talking about the benefits in terms of some of the previous testimony we heard on the bill? The increased capacity on the grid, lower costs of energy. We saw a presentation this morning from ERCOT detailing how, in terms of new capacity added to the grid, it is in recent years overwhelmingly in the area of solar and energy storage. And so would it be fair to, while we're considering possible downsides or negative impacts of renewable energy and energy storage, is it also fair to look at the benefits to the people of Texas at the same time?
Yes, Representative Turner, that's a good point. I think that there's definitely room for, when we doing studies like this, to go ahead and look at all the different aspects of it. I don't think we're never opposed to restricting the things that we should be considered in any kind of report like this. It's good to make it comprehensive, so we agree with that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Members, further questions, Mr. Bennett? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.